when I first heard of human design, I was freaking blown away. No, actually, that's not even true. That's not true. When I first heard of human design, I was like, this is a load of bull poo. There's no way some dude channeled this thing. Like there's absolutely no way. I was such a skeptic. And then like human design just didn't go away. I'm like, everyone's talking about it. Why is everyone talking about it? And then some people like I really respected started talking about it. I'm like, okay, maybe I should lean in and pay attention. So I started to lean in and pay attention. And then once I was at a Joe Dispenza retreat, and the dude who, so there was a dude who channeled the thing. God, I'm so professional in this podcast today. A dude who channeled the thing. Erin talks about it in the podcast. I forget his name. But anyways, he then shared a lot of knowledge to this man named Chetyan. And I got the chance to meet him at a Joe Dispenza retreat. And he told me all about human design. And he just said, he's like, listen, even if you think it doesn't work, just try to operate according to your design and then come back and tell me. So anyways, I did. And I actually got a reading with Chetyan. And it was a really amazing, beautiful reading. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give this I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to actually act as a projector, because for those of you who know me, I have a tendency to act as a manifesting generator, because I can just go and go and go because I love my work so much. But then I hit a wall and I just slide down for days. So I needed a new strategy in order to really make sure that my energy was optimized and I wasn't burning myself out. So I listened to what Chetyan said. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this projector life a good old shot. And so I did. And you guys, it was unbelievable, like how different I felt in my body, how I wasn't getting burnt out like I used to get burnt out. I wasn't getting annoyed and frustrated and irritated. And I actually felt like so much more joyful. And I think validation is also the word. Like I felt validated, like, oh, I don't operate like that. I operate like this, and this is unique to me. And I'm gonna try this out. So anyway, I brought Erin on the podcast, Erin Jones. She is freaking awesome. She's one of the world's leaders in human design. She's just amazing. She coaches, she's got content all over the place. She sells digital products. She's really empowered hundreds of thousands of people to overcome obstacles by honoring their human design. Her clients are in over 160 countries. She's been featured in Forbes, Elle, the Sunday Times. She's just absolutely amazing. And so she really breaks it down on this podcast. So if you are human design curious, or maybe you're all the way in, this episode is going to give you a ton of knowledge. Erin is absolutely incredible and just will really, really, really support you in figuring out how you can begin to make slight changes in your life in order to honor your human design and therefore optimize your energy a little bit more. And before we get into that, you guys have been hearing me talk about the 3-day challenge, the Breathwork Breakthrough Challenge, for weeks now. I'm sure we have thousands of people registered for it now. If you are listening to this podcast at the time of it launching, we are launching in like 4 or 5 days. So whatever you do, stop what you're doing, go to pausebreathwork.com/challenge to get in. Day 1, we're talking all about wealth generation, how we can actually make money doing what we love to do. Day 2 is all about impact, how we can really truly use things like breathwork and somatic healing to get our clients better transformations. And then day 3 is all around designing a business that lights you up from the inside out. Not one where we're hustling 24/7, but one that is so aligned with our soul, where we're not letting our ambition override our nervous system, so that we can feel aligned and powerful, magnetic, and amazing. So do not sleep on this. It is live. It is going to be amazing. Head on over to pausebreathwork.com/challenge. That's pausebreathwork.com/challenge. All right, I'll see you in there.
Can't be contained. That's what I'm talking about.
Erin Jones, welcome to the Can't Be Contained podcast. I'm so excited for this episode.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, babe, absolutely. I feel like you and I have been circulating each other's worlds for a little while now, and I'm so pumped to drop in, especially on the topic of human design. I find it so fascinating, and I have so many questions for you as it pertains to human design. But why don't we start with the fire in your belly you have to bring this into the world? Like, why human design? Why is that important to you?
My gosh, I don't think I ever could have anticipated I would spend so much of my life doing this. But I think why I keep doing it is that my experience is that human design just gives people such permission to be themselves, such permission to show up in business in a way that feels true, as a parent in a way that feels authentic, in their partnership in a way that feels sustainable and like the way who they want to be in that space. And so I find that human design tends to give us language for things we've always known to be true about ourselves, but so rarely given ourselves permission to step into. And I just love being that mirror, because I think that it's like, it's just reminding them of exactly who they are. And one thing I really loved recently is that I feel like when I share people's human design with them, they like remember who they were when they were 5, because they're like, oh my God, there they were. Like I was just owning it. And then I got so conditioned to be everything but that. And now I can return to it. So I don't know. I just love using it as a vehicle to give people permission to be themselves. You know,
Do you have sort of like a before and after story that you have of before you knew about the maps of human design and how you were living your life and sort of the results that you were getting or the energy that you were lacking? And then once you understood it and understood how to sort of engineer your life around your design, how it looked like? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's touched every part of my life. But I think before I discovered human design, I think that I felt pretty burnt out. I was like so desperately trying to be like a doer and just like keep up the energy all the time. And like I just felt exhausted, and I felt pretty unrecognized for what I was bringing to the table and pretty disconnected from my gifts. And so I think that was kind of the before version work-wise. And I think what human design allowed me to do was like build a career around my ability to like see people and make them feel understood, which was what I was always doing. I just didn't know it was allowed as a career. And also like, was that okay? Like, could I really do that? And so, and then building my business in a way that really honored that, you know, and that's been an experiment, but like also, you know, I think of like community. I think that I was part of this huge community in New York City in my 20s. So fun. And yet, when I discovered human design, I was really reminded of the fact that as good as I was at making others feel seen, I rarely felt seen in return. And so my energy really shifted from like kind of this big community being out all the time to like really investing in one-on-one relationships that I felt drawn to. And that just felt so much more fulfilling. And with my husband too, you know, I think that like our relationship kind of came out after human design, but I think human design helped me know that he was so clearly the right person for me. So I don't know. It's really changed everything. It's like, I find that now I like have my human design goggles on. I can't really see a part of my life without them. And especially being a mom to 2 young kids, it's totally shifted the way that I parent and the permission I've given myself.
I have so many questions. This is so good. First of all, where did human design originate from? Like, what lineage was it from?
So human design is a channeled system.
Okay.
It's been around since 1987. The founder was a man named Ra Uhuruhu, who's no longer alive, but he basically had a very mystical experience where he was walking home one day in Ibiza and heard a voice, and the voice said, it's time to work. And for basically 8 days and 8 nights, he received all this information and then spent the next 20 years building it out. And the idea is that it draws from a lot of systems that have been around a lot longer than human design, from the I Ching to astrology to Kabbalah to the chakra system, kind of all blending together to create something entirely new to kind of give us this blueprint to how we're designed to move through the world. And I will say, for any skeptics listening, if we have skeptics listening, I hope we do, that what matters most to me is not whether human design is true, but whether it's useful. And so even if it feels like a little bit unbelievable that we could ever know this much information about ourselves based on that time, date, and place of birth, I think the question is just like, does the information feel useful?
Sure.
Like, and my experience in sitting with people, and so many thousands at this point, is that like, it just is so undeniably useful.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a question around. So I was on a call yesterday with one of my mastermind members in our life mastermind, and she was talking about how she has this like insane brand. It's just amazing, and she wants to get it out in the world, but there is this like fear inside of her to be seen, right? It's like this inner fear to be seen. And she was sort of playing with well, I have this part of me that's afraid of being seen. And also my human design says that I need to be really patient. And she was trying to discern the difference between like, what is her playing small and what is her honoring her human design? And I'm curious your thoughts on that, how we discern the difference between our parts, our wounded aspects of ourself that are trying to keep us small, and actually being in integrity with our human design.
Totally. Like, I think that it's often easy to use our human design as excuses to not do certain things, you know, as with any system, we can do this with anything. But I think that, like, you know, I don't know her design, but there's a piece of our design called our authority. Do you remember what hers was? Was it around emotional?
We didn't pull up her chart. She just named that one aspect. Yeah.
Okay. She's probably emotional, but basically there are pieces of our chart that speak to how we best make decisions. And so in moments like that, like that's always the thing that I return to.
Yeah.
because like it basically is the way that like it kind of cuts through all the mental noise to like get to like what's really there. And also there's parts of our chart that speak to just fears that we have, which is really useful because then it just names it and you're like, oh, this is the thing guiding the ship.
Yes.
And so like it's so specific to somebody's chart, but I think our chart can really help us understand that, like help us make sure that we're moving from a place of like, this is truly what's right versus this is what I'm scared of. And this is like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like one thing I would say, not knowing her chart, but thinking I might know some of it, is that she's never meant to feel 100% certain. And so if she's waiting for that 100%, it's never going to arrive. Like 80% is good enough for her, you know? So like, it's just, there are simple things like that where it's like, oh, I see, I've been holding off. And like, and I remember even for me, my design is very much around like making myself visible, but like, but also like not initiating and chasing after everything. And I think there have been many moments in my career where I've just like kind of used that as an excuse to not be proactive and put myself out there. So I think that I've also learned like, how can I really honor my design as a projector, but also like be proactive in sharing who I am, because some people just don't know I exist yet. How can I let them know that I do?
Oh, I love that so much. Okay. So I spent my whole life, operating, I guess, as a manifesting generator, where I would just like go. And my mom used to always like, there used to be this like joke in our household that I would go. And then I would like hit a wall and I would like slide down it. And I would be like on the couch horizontal for 3 days. And that was just like the pattern of that I ran my energy through. And then I learned human design and I understood that I was a projector. And I was like, oh my gosh, like my output is so high in correlation to, I guess, what I should be doing as a projector or whatever. So there was this recalibration process, which honestly I'm still in, and I'm still trying to find my footing with it because I am highly creative, highly intuitive. I do have a lot of energy, and typically projectors don't, right, or something. And so I get a little bit confused because I operate, I think, as a manifesting generator, probably still a little bit, but then I guess in my highest, I would not work as much. I don't know. Can you unpack that for me?
Yeah. So, you know, something we talked about before we started recording was that you feel like you're often mistyped. You know, people think that you're something different. So, you know, just to give you guys a little bit of context, if you're new, and again, if you're totally new, look up your chart at humandesignblueprint.com. But being a manifesting generator is around the fact that these people have like a lot of energy to dispel. Like they're kind of like meant to do many different things, move between many different passions, kind of meant to like use their energy fully throughout the day, like a little bit superhuman in their capacity. For projectors, you and me, we are very much meant to be like leaders and guides and teachers, and like are really here to learn how to like disentangle our worth from how hard we're working and how much we're doing. And we tend to do really well when we build kind of space and pause and rest into our days, because that's what actually like allows us to connect to our gifts. And so the energy is not consistent, but there are nuances here. You are an energy projector. You have a level of will that most people do not have, which means when your heart is in something, like literally no one can stop you, you know? And so like, I would say that you actually probably have the capacity to get more done than most, but it is meant to be in bursts. Okay. So that's kind of the projector piece where it's like, I wouldn't say like schedule your day like 9 to 5 or 9 to 8 or whatever, but like really kind of building in moments of pause and kind of like riding these waves, and also giving yourself a moment to rest and kind of like letting the energy surge back. And also something that's very unique to you, I don't know whether you experience this, is like you actually, because you've got such a strong will and ability to make things happen, you might sometimes be disappointed by other people's capacity to make things happen, because you can just do it a little bit better than them often. And so I think a work for you is like, how can you have really high standards for those that are around you, but not be unrealistic in your expectations? And because of that, you might actually not delegate as much because you are so competent. So really learning how to delegate and allow and support is big.
I feel like you just read my journal from yesterday. Wow. That is an experience that I feel often, and sort of my experience of it is like I know I need to delegate more, but there's this feeling of like, if I delegate, it's not going to be done quick enough, good enough, whatever it is. And I definitely know that that's like a shadow. So then I'm like, I'll just fucking do it. And then I have this like high achiever part of me that's like, let me just go do it. I'm just going to get it done. And that, I guess that's the will that you're talking about. And so the work for me is delegation and being okay with 80%, being okay with 70%.
That's right.
And it's like one of my good friends, Dan Martell, says, 100% done by someone. What did he say? 80% done by someone else is 100% good, something like that. And it is about that release and letting go and not being attached to it being absolutely perfect the way that I would do it.
That's right. I was going to suggest that you read Dan Martell's book if you hadn't already. But yeah, I think that like you have an extraordinary capacity. That's an amazing gift of yours. But I think if you expect others to match you there, it will be disappointing. And so there is something around how can I really, let 80% be enough, because it will just burn you out, and you're like young, you can maybe like sustain this for a bit, but at a certain point it just becomes exhausting.
Talk to me when I have 2 kids, okay? Then I'll be like, I can't fucking do this anymore.
Totally. I know. I'm just like, but then also when you're a parent, you're like, I am superhuman. I don't sleep and I still can do it, So yeah. I think that, so yes, this is all to say that like, I so see why you resonate with the manifesting generator energy, because you do have such powerful, efficient energy. And yet I still think that building in more pause and space and rest into your days and recognizing like how many gifts you carry that are so far beyond your output is really important.
Erin, there's a reason why God gave me the mission called pause. It's literally just for me. It's for me. It's it. It's really funny. Like I laugh at that a lot, because pausing and being in the stillness and being in the nothingness is something, it is an edge for me. It's a continual, it takes discipline and it takes a lot of choice. And because of my powerful will to just move through, it just requires like exposure therapy for me to be like, I am not going to do this. I'm going to pause. I'm going to lay on my mat. I'm going to do 20 minutes of breath work. I'm going to walk in my garden with barefoot. I'm going to go, jump in the ocean, even though I have a million things to do. It's opposite action of what my ego wants to do. And that is truly the most healing thing, and allows me, to your point, like to really tap into those, like spiritual powers that I can feel are there, but sometimes get hidden because of the go.
And there's one other piece of your chart. This is so far beyond you being a projector, but like you're somebody that can feel like a lot of pressure to make things happen fast. Like there's a kind of the sense of urgency of like, I'm going to do it now. And like a big lesson for you, and I think you just articulated it so perfectly, is like learning how to slow down and learning how to pause and knowing that not everything is worth the urgency. Not like that doesn't have to be your default state. And what's so cool is like, that's such a big lesson that you're here to learn in life, but it's also a lesson you're here to teach. So it makes so much sense to me, like through your mission, that both you have to learn this lesson, but also you're helping others do the same.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was journaling about this probably like 6 months ago and talking about like my relationship to time. Because I do feel that like pressure cooker urgency. It's so funny how well you know me from a couple numbers on a piece of paper.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's really crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there is this like feeling of like it's almost like a pressure cooker urgency of like, I don't have enough time to do all the things that I need to do in this lifetime before I die. Like it was like this intensity of like, there's so much that is coming through me that I want to create, manifest, and put it into the world to like help raise consciousness, and I don't have enough time. It was so weird. And one of my spiritual mentors, Raina, she just sat me down and she was like, hey, listen, if you don't get it done in this lifetime, you can come back and do it in another lifetime. And I'm like, okay, that's helpful. But it is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, continually healing my relationship to time has been such an interesting journey. And like one of the things that my soul loves so much is like activities that are not time bound. Like some of my favorite memories and times of my life are just like being at the lake when I wake up and I have nothing on my calendar and it doesn't matter what time I do anything. It's just unbound time, open time. And my soul feels so good in that.
Yeah.
But then typically my day to day is very opposite of that. And it feels very time bound. So it's just like finding the balance in that.
Yeah. And also like, knowing, like, I would say your design is very much like the founder of human design would call this kind of dynamic a pressure sandwich, where there's like a lot of pressure to like pursue every idea that lands in your head and to make every idea happen right now. Yeah. And so part of the journey is like, how can I like exist with the pressure, but not respond and react to it? Because like the responding is like, oh, like I'll do this thing to free myself from the pressure, but then like another thing will just pop up. It's kind of this like hamster wheel that you can never really get off of. And so it is developing, I think, a healthier relationship both to pressure and time, where it's like, okay, like, again, not everything needs to happen right now. And how can I use a lot more discernment and also not try to get rid of the pressure, notice it, see it, but not get lost in it.
That's so fascinating. I feel like that's extremely relevant for me as a CEO. Like I have 1,000,005 ideas and they all need to happen today, you know? And then my team's like, so that's been, I mean, I'm still in the middle of that journey, like finding the balance of that, of like following my excitement, but then also being realistic about my boundaries and my energy resources. So yeah.
Can I throw in one more piece about your design, just relevant to this? So one of my favorite parts of the chart is around decision making. And I kind of referenced this with your client, your mastermind client, but you are somebody who's meant to be a slow decision maker. So like that might not be a natural thing for you, but you're like somebody who's very instinctive. You probably have like immediate instincts about things. And yet when it comes to making big decisions, it's best for you to sleep on it and give yourself a pause and give yourself a beat and like see how something feels, not in the moment, but the next day and the day after and the day after. And so the right things for you are the ones that where the excitement persists, where it's not just loving it in the moment. So it's also kind of one way to work with this inspiration you feel of like feeling it all and giving yourself a beat to see if it's still interesting. Because some people are meant to be so fast in how they choose, but you're actually somebody who's meant to be slower.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I guess it's the conditioning or the patterning or the whatever it is, but I feel very quick in the way that I operate. So
yeah.
Okay, human design in relationships. How do we roll with that?
I mean, I just think it's the coolest tool to better understand the people close to us. Like, I'm not the kind of person that's like, use human design to choose a partner. I just don't.
Right.
I think we're just more nuanced than that. And I also think human design is not like a thing where it's like certain types can do it and other types can't. But I would say once you have decided that somebody feels right for you, I would look up their chart and just like start to see how different you are. Like, I just feel like so often when I sit with couples, the friction they're experiencing is not a fundamental disconnect. It's just because they misunderstand how one another operates. Like one person might be a fast decision maker, the other slow. You know, one person might be somebody who needs to process alone. The other person needs to process with others. Like there's just so many polarities, but they can make each other wrong for being different when they just haven't taken the time to understand one another. And I will say, you know, with 2 young daughters, they also, in my family of 4, we are 4 of the 5 types. So I'm basically just surrounded by like all the difference. And I think for me, it's been such an amazing tool to be like, okay, my husband is radically different than me. Both of my daughters are so different from him. And I think it's been the coolest tool to just start to really understand how to engage with people that are really different than me. It's so cool in relationships. He's a generator.
Okay. And so how does the projector generator energy play together?
You know, I think that it's great in a lot of ways. Like we just kind of do everything together. Like we have worked together and we obviously parent together and we're partners. So like I think that it is, we tend to like be incredibly complementary because we are so different. But I think where it can be challenging is moments like he's just got like a lot of stamina. And like he's got like a lot of creativity and like a lot of energy. And I feel like I'm often like trying to keep up and do as much. And so I would say a big lesson for me as a projector is like allowing him to do his thing without trying to match it. Also, you know, the recommendation for projectors and generators, which is, you know, not true for everybody in terms of what they want, is like sleeping in their own spaces, in their own bedrooms. And so that has been a really useful tool for us. Like we love sleeping in the same bedroom, but we also love having our own spaces because like we tend to like, he goes to bed a little bit later. We just kind of have different routines at night sometimes. And that's been really helpful knowing our type. But like, I mean, there's so many parts of our chart. He's somebody who has to like understand all the details about something. And I'm just like, it works. I'm good. Like, I'm fine. And like, it's helpful to have a language for these differences because I think that otherwise we might, make each other wrong for them, take them personally. I think another difference for us is that he's a very fast decision maker and I'm a slow one. And also he's somebody that makes decisions in the moment based on his gut feeling. And there have been lots of moments in my life where I like want him to make a decision so badly and like he just doesn't have a gut response. And so I've really had to learn how to be patient of being like, I got to wait for the yes, because when it's a yes, like, you know, I tell a lot of these stories in my book of him specifically of just like learning to trust that process. But I think human design has more than anything given me a language to understand his operating system in a way that's allowed me to respect it.
That's a really, really big one. You know, I think a lot of the friction that comes up historically with my husband and I is just because we're so different. And that's what obviously attracts us to each other and all the things. But it's just really about learning. Yeah, like I had to really learn his pacing. You know, his pacing is just different from mine, and the way that he sees the world is different. The way he makes decisions is different. And so rather than those being points of contention, it's like, how can we really respect, because there's intelligence in both systems, right? It's just about understanding that it's just different.
Do you know his type?
He's a manifesting generator.
Yeah.
So he's pretty go all the time.
Yeah. How do you so if I was sitting with you guys, I think one of the things that would be important, again, I don't have your full charts, is the need for you to take a little bit of space and kind of have some space away from each other to reconnect. Does that feel built in? Does that feel important?
So I need that. It's really interesting. I need a lot of space. He does too, but he loves being with me constantly all the time. You know, he just really does. And I in order for me to find myself, I need time away. Yes. You know, I love even spending a night in a hotel by myself and just regaining my energy, because I'm always around people and serving, and it's just so busy with work and everything. I really need to find myself, you know, and the only way that I know how to do that is solitude.
Well, you're such a hermit in your design, so that's not surprising. Yeah.
Which is weird, because it's like a competing agreement, because I'm such a social butterfly, but then I have that two. Is it the two in the? It's
the two. Yeah. I think that one of the things that I love most about human design is it often gives language to our complexities, to the fact that we need balance, because in your chart, you have this very hermetic quality. This comes from a part called your profile, which means time and space alone to be in your own flow is just so important. So it's no surprise. I have the same thing as a fellow 6-2, that being in a hotel, it's just is so. And then you also have the gift of community, which means that you're so good at building community, integrating people in. There's such a warm, friendly energy. So you've got this dance where it's you're very hermetic, you're here to serve community. And so it's about finding kind of the balance in a way that, you know, it gives you the energy to show up for your community in a way that feels sustainable, and also to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the two for a second.
Yeah.
Because I find what does it actually look like to be in integrity with that hermit? What do you do?
Gosh, I'm really figuring this out right now as a mom of 2 young kids. I'm where is my alone time?
Right.
You know, the two. So if you guys are listening and you look up your chart at humandesignblueprint.com, look at what's listed under profile. The 2 will be true for you if you are 2-4, 2-5, 6-2, or 5-2. Okay. So it basically means that time and space alone is where you restore. And it can be, and it's also just time and space to just be in your own flow and do your own thing and just see what you feel drawn to. It gives you so much information around where to put your energy. So to be in integrity with that, I think would be having a relationship with your husband where you can ask for alone time guilt-free. You know, to be I need space to be my own flow, and for him to not take that personally, but to see that as an essential need of yours. And it might be for me, it's it might be 5 minutes, you know, or for you, it might be an evening away or an afternoon or whatever. But I think it's really just giving yourself that permission to kind of take that time when you need it without guilt, and knowing how restorative that can be.
Yeah. To just be, meditate, journal, read, just do nothing, stare at a wall. Just,
yes. Yeah. Whatever you feel drawn to. And that is it is alone time, but it's also it's time to just be in your own uninterrupted flow to do whatever it is that you feel most drawn to.
Are you a projector 6-2 as well?
I too am. Yeah, we actually are very similar. I'm an emotional projector 6-2 like you.
Whoa, that's wild.
I know.
I don't think I've ever met anyone that
And we're 7 months apart.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, 7 months? Maybe, okay, sorry, 16 months. But I think that it's also, we're in similar phases to life with our little 6-2.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a projector 6-2 then, how do you run your business in a way that feels super aligned to your energy, making sure that you don't deplete yourself and deplete your resource?
Gosh, you know, it's a funny time to be asking me, only because I'm coming out of such an intense year and also having a 10-month-old. So I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm at a moment where it's I'm whoa, this has been a lot. I need a pause. But, you know, I think probably the biggest piece is focusing my energy in the business on the areas where I can be most effective and highest value. and trying my very, very best, which I'm still learning, to kind of not get pulled into things that I'm not that necessarily great at, but also just that aren't like the things that are uniquely me.
Totally.
Like, I think for me, it's like I'm really good at teaching and sharing human design. That's kind of my zone. When it comes to, and I do plenty of things beyond that, because like sometimes that's the reality of running a business, but like, you know, ideally having support for the rest of those pieces so I can kind of just do that thing really well. I also feel like another piece for me is really around how much I can teach and share and kind of be in the output piece. Like, I'm teaching 2 live courses right now, which is wonderful and also a lot. So it's like, I'm not doing any private sessions, you know, for the next 12 weeks, because I'm like, I just can't. I can't do that. You know, I'm not available for that. And so I think just like getting clear on what I have the energy for at what time, and like, and also for me, I'm coming out of a really intense period of launching my book, marketing the book, launching these 2 live courses. It's just been like, it's been kind of nonstop for the past 10 months. And so like, I know come September, once these courses come to a close, like I'm going to need to just retreat for a bit. You know, so it's also aware of like, as a projector, like there are just these natural cycles. It's not this consistent momentum kind of thing. Like, we just had a huge push, and that will like need to be followed up with like also a real reset. So that's something I'm aware of. How do you find you navigate it as a projector?
I'm just like in awe of you right now. I'm like, wait a second. You had a baby. You launched a book. You did too. Wow. I'm wow, babe.
I know.
Okay, so yeah, holy moly, sister friend. So, you know, I feel like I'm still finding my way, honestly, as a projector and a CEO. There's a part of my shadow of the projector, which is the bitterness, right? And so I know when I feel that bitterness, or I feel any sort of resentment, or I feel anything other than alignment and love and excitement, that I need to like just literally shut my freaking computer down. Yes. Because when I get in that energy of resentment or frustration, anything I do from that energy has just like the worst ripple effects, you know, like it's just like so destructive, and it's not like explosive. It's just, I think because my team knows what I feel like when I'm in alignment and when I'm in my highest, that if I'm not in that, even though it's not explosive and obvious, it's very felt. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Totally. And so the other day, I was coming home from like a 10-day like travel, family, blah. It was just like a lot. And we launched a course that I didn't QA before it went live. And the course portal just looked like shit. And I'm such a design beauty nerd that it just irked me in this way of like, I just felt so frustrated by the fact that it was so ugly, because we just launched this, whatever, our membership site for our alumni. And I wasn't as graceful in communicating my frustration to the team, because I was super under-resourced and overworked and like over-traveled and whatever. And so I reflected on that, and I was like, okay, at the end of the day, the result was done. The team like redesigned the thing within 24 hours and it looked beautiful. But if I was super resourced and aligned and just full of energy and full of excitement, I could have communicated like really gently in a way where I would have got the same result, but I wouldn't have put like any sort of unnecessary pressure on my team or myself.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's those sorts of things where I'm just like when I feel like today, I feel super aligned. I feel super stoked. I had a calendar, like my day today felt super exciting. I got to hang out with you. And so like another little thing happened today, but I responded to it so easily. I was like, hey guys, just so you know, boop, 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 boop. They're like, yep, got it, done, sorted. You know, it's like, so it's just about like, when I don't honor my energy and I don't take space and time, it can come off as just like, I just not the type of energy that I want to share with my team, you know?
Yeah, it's such a great point, because I think that like, you know, we all have different ways of kind of accessing that, but as a projector, like the rested resource self, which of course we all need, it's just like you just have more capacity to handle anything that comes your way. Yeah. And as you just said, we all have kind of signals that reveal like something's awry and off track. And for projectors, it's a sign of bitterness, it's resentment. It's like, and so when that starts to show up, it's not often an invitation to react. It's a moment to kind of like step back and be like, let me just take a beat and like kind of approach this thing differently. And so that was like, that would have been a good moment for you to be like, okay, I'm going to step back, and I will, just to kind of validate your feelings. Your gift, one of your gifts in your chart is the gift of beauty, which means that, like, yes, you literally have the gift of like making things beautiful and kind of being in the process of refining it. And like, so I also think it makes a lot of sense that you've got an eye for it that not everybody does. And so like, it's probably going to feel like more important to you to feel like it's like an expression of who you are in that way than people might understand.
Totally. Because I think sometimes my team's like, what are you talking about? It looks great. And I'm like, it's hideous.
Yeah.
Like I find, beauty is so important to me. Like even my home, like every room sort of feels like a little bit like an art piece. Like every room's a little bit different. And my husband has this as well. So like we really take a lot of pride in that, or like, you know, fashion or whatever. I just love things that like feel like, even these like silly little cups. I like went to this restaurant and they were serving coffee in these cups. I'm like, these cups are amazing. I'm like, so I like searched like where to get them. It's just like silly things like that. And I didn't know that was in my chart, but that makes so much sense. Makes so much sense.
Yeah, and creativity.
Yeah. Okay, can you go through all of the different types and just give like a little briefing on each one? So I know a lot of my audience is into human design and astrology and gene keys and the rest of it. So I'm sure some people already know what they are, but maybe giving them a little bit more context for each. Of course.
Design. So if you don't yet know your chart, again, you can look it up at humandesignblueprint.com. So the 5 types are manifesting generators, projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. This is like such an important piece of the chart, your type, but it's also just the first piece. So just know that if you're like, oh, my partner and I are both this type, it doesn't mean y'all are the same. There's so much more nuance. So many of the things that I've spoken to at Your Design are obviously far beyond being a projector. So manifesting generators, these people are very multi-passionate doers. They have so much capacity to make things happen when they feel genuine excitement about what they're doing. Like their energy can be like quite buzzy and very inspiring and super uplifting. And these are my clients that are like, you know, I'm opening a restaurant. I'm also like a lawyer. I'm studying human design on the side. Like they just like can't be contained, and they struggle the most when they perceive that as being scattered instead of accepting it for what it is, which is their need for variety and evolution and change. And they're super fast. So they're kind of meant to try things on, let things go, kind of give themselves permission to pivot. Then we've got generators, which are similar people in that they also have this very natural kind of boundless energy when they feel genuinely excited. But for them, it's a very kind of like steady mastery energy. You know, I think the story I share in my book is LeBron James, who really embodies this gift beautifully. Like look at obviously what he's done, but this like kind of enduring passion that can really propel them if they really are honoring what they feel like they have the energy for. I think a big lesson for generators is boundaries, because they are so capable and resourceful. People can look to them for all kinds of things, and they can end up burdened with things they don't care about at all, and it can burn them out. So really staying attuned to what they naturally have the energy for. We've got projectors like you and me. Projectors are very natural leaders, teachers, guides, advisors, not here to do all the doing. So our biggest lesson is really allowing and rest and space and not feeling guilt around that. And, you know, one thing I'll just say that's been helpful for me is, you know, I used to feel like even rest to be productive. It's like, what am I going to do in this restful period to like, you know, listen to a podcast or take a course, and like allowing it to be genuinely unproductive, you know, like having that be the goal. And projectors are also incredibly sensitive to and attuned to other people. They're really good at asking the right questions. They tend to do really well in positions where they are guiding, advising, stewarding others, because their orientation is towards others often. We've got manifestors. My little 10-month-old is a manifestor, and I'm obsessed with manifestors. Like they are so, and we thought you maybe would be one, but manifestors are very innovative, disruptive, kind of like catalytic kind of people. Like they're really here to initiate and bring new ideas and ways of doing things into the world. They're here to tread paths that have not been walked before. A core value tends to be freedom to do what they want, when they want, how they want. And their energy can be very bursty. They can have periods of like incredible inspiration followed by need for kind of rest and space and time alone. The final type is reflectors. This is the rarest type. These people are so incredibly sensitive to their environment. They can kind of take it and mirror everything around them. So they are meant to be so ruthless about where they're spending time and who they're spending it with. And they're incredibly fluid. They're probably going to have days where they feel like projectors, like manifesting generators, like generators. And so their job is not to try to box themselves into just one expression, but kind of honor whatever part of them wants to come out that day.
I only know one reflector. What's like an example of a celebrity reflector?
God, I wish there were more, because they're harder to find. The ones I cover in my book are Sandra Bullock.
Oh, okay.
I find that like they are really like actors and actresses make sense because they can like express themselves in so many different ways.
Totally.
Do you know who Amma is, the hugging saint?
Oh, yeah.
She's a reflector too, which I love because like their gift is just like mirroring things back. And like, I don't know if you've received a hug from Amma, but for me, it was a really intense experience. And like, there's obviously, she's hugged millions of people. And then also the other one I share about in my book is Rosalind Carter and Jimmy Carter's wife. And I think that she's a really great example because so much of his reflection on her is just that like she was kind of, I mean, she was like in all the cabinet meetings. Like she was like, I ran everything past her. She was so incredibly wise. Her perspective, like she was kind of my secret weapon. And I think that reflectors are just so wise. They just see sense and feel things that most people miss and like are so invaluable in their perspective. So his description of that was so aligned with that gift.
That's so cool. It's so interesting how these maps just give so much clarity to people's way of being, which obviously gives them this sense of like validation of like, oh my gosh, I'm not weird. I'm not whatever the story is. Like this is genuinely unique to who I am. And the more that we honor that, the more that we can settle into that, which obviously just gives us more energy, more resource, more love. The one thing that I was going to share is I feel when I am out of alignment with my strategy, I feel like I'm missing out on my own gifts. And what I mean by that is like, I'm like, there's this like frequency of power that I feel in my body when I am truly honoring my energy and taking space. And there's almost this grief when I'm not in that because I know how good that feels. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh, wait, no, I want to get back to this like deep alignment and this like deep power. And I know when I'm overworking and over engineering things and overdoing things, that is completely stripped. I don't have access to that. And so there's this like grief there.
Yeah. No, it's such a good reminder because I think that's always been, I think it's true for all of us in our own way, but I think for projectors specifically, I do always kind of remind projectors that if they are in that kind of overzealous overdoing, it makes it impossible to access their own gifts, kind of the gift of their insight and their empathy and their sensitivity and the questions. Like those are things that are born from a relaxed, rested, resource state. And so I just love that reminder. And I love the reminder of like really tapping into the feeling of that. So it's like when that's gone, it's like, oh, this is not it.
Yes, this ain't it. This ain't it. Yeah, it's interesting to have that sort of intuitive sense of like, I'm on it, I'm not on it, I'm on it, I'm not on it.
Totally.
Yeah. It's so interesting. Okay. You have a book that came out 2 months ago now. Tell us all about it. Tell us where we can get it.
So the book is called How Do You Choose? A Human Design Guide to What's Best for You at Work and Love and in Life. I think my goal in writing a book is there are a lot of amazing human design books that are out there. But a lot of them are kind of textbooks. They're for people like me that I'm like, tell me everything about the chart. And this book is not that. It's really meant to be a practical exploration of how you can actually use your design to find more flow in your work and relationships. So it's more around like, how can I I'm feeling stuck in my job or I feel like out of alignment. How can I like open to this chapter and reconnect to like what I actually need to do? And my favorite part of the book is that it's full of so many stories. So it's not just kind of like overloading people with information, but it's really kind of pairing it with stories of people from history that we know, but also a lot of client stories that I think bring the information to life in just a way more interesting way.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read that. I know what you mean by the textbook thing. I have a lot of human design textbooks.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, after 2 pages, I'm so bored.
Totally. Right. I'm like, I love them.
Yeah. This is so awesome. This is so awesome. And then you have a place where people can actually look at their chart. So tell us how we get there too.
Yeah. So you can look up your chart at humandesignblueprint.com. We also sell custom guides that are truly so personalized to your design. There are over 400,000 variations of the guide. And you can use the discount code SAM. You can get that at humandesignblueprint.com/guide. And that discount code will also apply to our certification course if you're just like, teach me all the things.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Erin. You're just like a wealth of knowledge. And I know I'm like a human design, like baby chicken nugget at the moment, but I want to be more in integrity and like really learn these maps and embody these maps more and more. So thank you for coming on and sharing your wisdom. And everyone go to humandesignblueprint.com, get the guide, understand yourself, understand your energy strategy. It's a game changer. So thank you so much.
Oh my God. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course.